I once thought love was an impregnable vault, a sanctuary no force could penetrate. I was wrong. It started with the subtle sound of zippers, quiet yet relentless, too intentional to ignore as benign. Each time I stepped into the shower, I noticed the faint rustle of my laptop bag being tampered with. At first, I dismissed it as paranoia, but in my profession, vigilance is survival. As a cybersecurity expert, I build fortifications, track intrusions, and predict betrayals hidden within streams of data. I should have realized she would become the flaw I never saw coming. Our marriage spanned 8 years, sparked at a tech startup conference. She was lively, curious, her inquiries about encryption and network defenses appearing authentic. Back then, I saw her curiosity as a connection between us. Now I know it was a deliberate reconnaissance. Her name was Elise, elegant and poised. The type who never forgot a milestone but always let her phone battery drain. I invested heavily in her dreams, a boutique, extravagant vacations. She called the glossy convertible a ticket to happiness. I believed we were forging a shared destiny. She was plotting her exit. The first clue came wrapped in a scent of deceit. A notification flashed on my tablet. A declined $3,800 charge at a luxurious Bali spa. The card was mine, yet I hadn't left the country in months. I questioned her gently, keeping my tone light. She laughed it off, blaming a careless click. I wanted to believe her, but in my world, mistakes always leave traces. So I laid a trap. I slipped a sleek titanium card into my laptop bag, tied to a dummy account I'd created with $62,000. Tempting enough to lure, not enough to ruin. The account linked to a secure system I'd designed, programmed to record every detail of any transaction. One morning, I left the card slightly visible before my shower and waited. She fell for it. The next day, my system flagged $53,200 in charges, posh hotels, designer stores, and 2 first-class tickets to Paris booked under her name and another. Victor, a man she'd passed off as just a client. A graphic designer who suddenly needed her expertise late at night. The betrayal crystallized into something keener than hurt. It became proof, a data point. I stared at the monitor, not with rage but with focus. The card wasn't merely bait, it was a trap. My sandbox system tracked threats with precision, logging locations, timestamps, and device fingerprints with every purchase. Within hours, I had their entire travel plan, hotels, restaurants, even the room number of her companion. Their escapade unfolded in digital shards. Her ordering wine at 2:47 a.m., him registering them as a couple at the hotel. I didn't confront her. Instead, I moved methodically. I quietly transferred our funds, shut down joint accounts, and shifted assets to my company's name. The house, her beloved haven, was refinanced days before her trip. She was too caught up in her Parisian adventure, draped in velvet robes, to notice. While she sipped cocktails at an upscale bar, I perfected my snare. Each charge she made activated an internal fraud alert system I'd engineered. By the time she returned, Victor's name was flagged across major financial networks, and her spending spree was labeled as credit card fraud, all linked to her identity. She came back a week later, radiant with assurance, tossing her bags by the door with a smug grin. "That spa retreat was heavenly," she teased. "You should loosen up a bit." I held her gaze, still in my workout gear, towel slung over my shoulder. "Spontaneity suits you," I said, my voice calm, concealing the steel beneath. She mistook my composure for fatigue, a husband too drained to question her. Ideal. That night, I assembled the final dossier. Every receipt, timestamp, and damning photo, a digital chronicle of her infidelity. I sent it anonymously to her bank's fraud department, and for good measure, to the Paris hotel chain. By morning, her accounts were locked, transactions halted, and her phone buzzed with calls from fraud investigators. By evening, police were at our door. She called me from the station, her voice quaking with fear and tears. "They're accusing me of theft. You have to sort this out." I replied evenly. "I already told them the facts." "What facts?" she pressed, her voice breaking. "That the card was fake." A heavy silence followed, her realization dawning over the faint hum of my office server. "You set me up," she whispered. I let the quiet stretch. "No, Elise. You did that yourself." I ended the call. The investigation unraveled swiftly. Her name was technically cleared, but the damage was irreversible. Her boutique's accounts were frozen pending audits, her investors withdrew, and Victor disappeared. His profiles erased, his number changed. She returned to the house one last time. Eyes swollen, makeup smudged. I screwed up, she murmured. We can start over. I looked at her, not as a spouse but as an analyst studying defective code. No, Elise. You targeted the wrong network. She crumpled in the kitchen, sobbing. Once, that would have shattered me. Now it was merely confirmation of a clean break. A week later, I filed for divorce. The courts granted me full control of the house, assets, and savings, all securely tucked under my company's trust. She left with only her passport and a bitter lesson in trust. They say revenge is best served cold, but I find it's more potent when it's digital, silent, exact, and final. Sometimes in the shower, I still hear the faint whisper of zippers. It's instinct now, a reminder of past weaknesses. But I smile, because every system needs a stress test. She was mine. Love, like code, depends on trust. When it's violated, you erase it completely and for good.